Hello, hope you're having a great day. Now this morning I've found it a little bit hard to get going. I woke up at 7:30 but then ended up going back to bed, just laying in bed until 8, and then I've just been really slow to get through each stage of my daily routine. I've got to be honest, my mind is being occupied by the idiots upstairs. You know, my ego is telling me that I've got something to prove now that they've got this bodyguard chaperoning them to the off licence. The guy's got some sort of battalion name printed on their sweatshirt, so you know, I've been looking up what battalion they are. They're the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, and yeah, it's just tying me in knots a bit mentally, to be honest. I'm not feeling any fear or intimidation or anything like that. It's just that my ego's telling me that I've got something to prove. It's telling me that even more so now I should be, you know, going outside when they come back from the shop and just standing there just to sort of show that I've got no fear. So yeah, it's all silly. I completely admit that it's all silly, but my mind's telling me that the neighbour is now gonna, you know, assume that they can be as loud as they want at night and keep us awake, you know, because they've got this bodyguard as a front, you know, to show that they're this innocent person that's scared of the big bad neighbour downstairs. So yeah, I can't lie, it has been on my mind. I have actually sent a message to the Facebook page of that regiment or battalion, just in case, you know, this guy is just impersonating them. You know, I don't want to not say something. At the end of the day, the neighbour has admitted they're a paranoid schizophrenic. They've admitted that they drink too much whilst on medication for their paranoid schizophrenia. So I'm naturally going to be wary of anyone that they associate with. So yeah, I decided to message the battalion's Facebook page just to ask them, like, what the crack is. Like, do your guys get deployed as bodyguards? And if so, should they be wearing that attire whilst doing so? Or, you know, is it potentially someone impersonating a serving soldier? I've said before that I totally admit that the best way to deal with this would be to just completely ignore them, you know, deal with when they're making too much noise by knocking on the door, banging on the ceiling. But yeah, it's time of mind in knots a little bit, to be honest. Anyway, I've been a little bit slow to get going this morning, ended up getting out of bed at 8 AM and it's now 9:25. And yeah, I want to bang out my exercises as quick as I can. I'm going to follow on from yesterday's leg session and do calves and squats. So I'm going to do those back to back, and then I'm going to do a couple of sets of crunches with a set of push-ups in between, and then I'm going to go and give my boxing bag 3.5 minutes of punishment, and then I'm going to jump in my cold shower and have my breakfast. Let's go. Right now I'm listening to a video that's been made up of clips from Joe Dispenza, who I've mentioned on the channel before, and yeah, he's just talking about, you know, how most people live unconsciously, you know, just drawn along by what's going on in their mind, and he's saying how important it is to be aware of what's going on in your mind, you know, and that's something that I bang on about all the time. You know, I literally just analyse my mind as if it's a different voice rather than, you know, seeing it as me. Anyway, let's crack on. Alright, so after keeping busy for what was left of the morning on my MacBook, I've just come round to do some bits on my car, and that's all done. So now it's crunch time to see if I can get the car video edited and uploaded this evening. So yeah, better pack up, get home and dive back into working on my MacBook. Alright, so after I spoke to you earlier around the garage, I packed up, went home and then finished the edit on that car video, and that went out this evening, although that'll be yesterday evening for you guys watching this. And yeah, the fact that I was able to get that video edited in time was just down to the work that I put in yesterday, getting most of it edited before I'd even finished filming the last bit of it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you know, for some reason, my mind is filled with thoughts about, you know, the whole saga with my neighbour, and it's ridiculous. I'm doing it to myself. I totally understand that, but, you know, understanding that doesn't mean that I'm immune from my mind trying to do this to me. It's mad, like the thoughts I'm having in my head where my mind's trying to drag me into a potential future, you know, when the weekend comes and, you know, they're going to be keeping us awake by making loads of noise, you know, dragging me into the future. The future isn't real. You know, it's also dragging me into the past and reminding me how much they've mugged us off by making noise in the past. Again, dragging me into the past. The past isn't real. The only thing that's real is the now. And earlier on, while I'm sitting there editing my videos, the now was, I need to edit my video. And as it happens, since this bodyguard has been living upstairs, the noise has been quiet because they're trying to build up this picture of being victimised and how, you know, we're being unreasonable. So obviously they're not going to make the noise that they usually do when that bodyguard's up there, because that's going to not tie in to this image that they're trying to portray. It's funny, actually, I noticed earlier on the camera, an Amazon driver knocked on the door, and, you know, I could tell that it was, you know, this transgender person with the really fake voice that had answered the door, although they answered the door with their normal voice. They're American, so that's how I can tell that it's that one. And, you know, the Amazon driver, obviously innocently, called them sir. And, you know, there was no mention of, oh, excuse me, I'm transgender, do you mind not calling me sir? Like, he repeatedly called this person sir, and there was literally no challenge to it. Whatever they'd ordered on Amazon must have been, you know, something for adults only, because they actually asked this neighbour to go and get some ID. And yeah, even, you know, reading out the name's Connor, which is, you know, a bloke's name. And, you know, called them sir again, and yeah, literally there was no challenge at all. So, you know, it's very incongruent. It doesn't match up, does it? You know, it's supposed to be this poor transgender person that's being victimised by the bigot downstairs. That's me. You know, it all started just because we dare to want to go to sleep at night. But whenever they answer the door to someone else, they're not using the fake name. Whenever they answer the door to someone else, they're not even transgender. You know, they're not even challenging the person for calling them sir. So yeah, none of it makes sense. To me, it just seems like they're a bit of an attention seeker. You know, they do stay in all day, every day, which is their prerogative. You know, they do drink alcohol every day. Again, none of my business. So, you know, maybe the only way that they can sort of be relevant in their life is to be this victim, you know, to walk down the road with this bodyguard walking next to them with, you know, their army stuff printed all over their top. You know, when I think about it, I really do feel sorry for them. You know, I feel sorry for anyone with a mental illness, but that doesn't give you an excuse to potentially attack other people. You know, imagine I wasn't as, you know, as strong as I am, you know, with my mental issues. You know, this could be really affecting me with the current agenda. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that have killed themselves because they've been accused of being transphobic or whatever they call it. You know, so it's not acceptable just because they are a bit messed up in the head. Yeah, it's not acceptable. But, you know, I can only think about myself, and I need to continue to make sure that I don't get drawn into this. And I have been, you know, I've been admitting that to you guys. You know, the answer is to just accept it, forget it, don't even bother thinking about going in out there and showing that I'm not scared of this bodyguard. You know, I should be ignoring all those thoughts, but, you know, I'm not being able to fully ignore them. But, you know, because of the work I do on myself every day, I am able to, when them thoughts come up, just bring myself back to the present moment. You know, whether it be earlier on when I was editing my videos, I get these mad thoughts and I bring myself back to working. You know, if I'm in the gym in a minute and the thoughts come up, bring myself back to doing what I'm doing in the gym. You know, the answer is always to bring yourself back to the present moment, because most of the time when your mind is trying to trick you or drag you down a negative route, it's taking you into future and past, which isn't real. Now, one thing I have kind of been doing is, you know, using my ego to my advantage in a way. Like this morning, I was sort of trying to decide whether I should go out and do the 3.5 minutes on the boxing bag. You know, I've been trying to do that sort of every day, apart from when I'm getting close to my boxing session, which I've been doing mainly on a Saturday recently. So, you know, like this morning, it was like part of me couldn't be bothered to do the boxing on the bag, right? But then my ego stepped in. It's like, no, you've got to show the neighbours, you know, how strong you are and how much of a beast you are and how dangerous you are. Like, so it's like, yeah, I need to go out and hit the bag. But then, you know, then another thought sort of comes into my mind, and it's like, oh no, you don't want to go out there and hit the bag, because then you're going to look like they're bothering you and you're only doing it to sort of show a front. So, you know, there's been a lot of contradiction, you know, my mind dragging me one way and the other, you know, like complete opposites. And whenever I get in that situation, I just pick the one that's the hardest work, because hard work is the answer for most things in your life. Andrew Tate says that, you know, most things in your life can be solved by more hard work. So, you know, when I'm conflicted, deciding whether I should or shouldn't go and hit the bag, you know, where my laziness is telling me not to go and hit the bag, but then my ego is telling me, yeah, I should. But then my ego also steps in and says, no, you know, be the bigger man. Don't just go out there and hit the bag to be a front. You know, when it's like really conflicted like that, I just think to myself, well, what's more hard work? Going to do 3.5 minutes on the boxing bag or not? Obviously, going to hit the bag is harder work, so that's what I decided to do. So, yeah, a lot of the time when my mind's, you know, pulling me in all different directions, one way of settling the dispute is just to choose the option that's the hardest work. And then a lot of the time, you know, because you're working harder, especially as a man, you're going to get further along in life in whatever you're doing. Anyway, that's enough waffling. I need to get myself into the gym. I'm going to be doing back and shoulders, and I'm going to let my ego make me work as hard as I can, because I need to turn myself into this beast to show Action Man upstairs that I mean business. I'm only joking. I'm going in there to do it for myself. Alright, so I was actually in and out of the gym in about an hour, which included my incline power walk for a warm-up as usual, and then I ended up doing 4 machines on back and shoulders, and then I done a couple of bonus sets on the row thing just on my left side, because my left lat is so much smaller than my right. And yeah, it's now just gone 9 PM and I'm about to have my dinner. And yeah, considering I've had a really busy day and I'm really happy with everything that I've got done today, that is quite early for me to be sort of settling down, having my dinner. And I think I'm going to make a point of not turning my MacBook on. I probably will reply to some comments from the 2 YouTube videos that I released today, just on my phone. But yeah, I'm going to try and relax a bit for this couple of hours, and then get to bed nice and early and get up nice and early for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, Kat is off work, but I would like to do a whole day around my other garage on my favourite car. So I've got a bit of a dilemma there. I would like to have a relaxed-ish day and go to the gym early with Kat, but then I would also like to spend a whole day around the garage. So we'll see how that pans out. Now for dinner, Kat has made me this creamy chicken stuff with rice. Got loads of peppers in there, and it looks like spinach. And with a meal like this, we have Parmesan cheese on it, and Parmesan cheese goes so well with this Nando's sweet chili jam. And if you've never tried that combination, I know you're probably thinking like, that's ridiculous. No way will they go together, but they really do, especially on a meal like that. So look, today has been an awesome day. Really, really happy with everything that I got done. Released 2 videos, got a little bit of work done on the car. And despite my mind trying to drag me into conflict, it hasn't hindered me at all. You know, I've focused on what I'm doing, focused on making myself into a stronger human being, both physically and mentally. And yeah, absolutely loving life. So I'm going to end this video here, but I'll be back again for another one tomorrow. Massive thanks, as always, to everyone who's made it this far. Feel free to say hello in the comments and we'll have a chat, or get in touch with me directly through Facebook, Instagram or email. But other than that, speak to you tomorrow.